I love how uncomfortable the subject of Judas Priest made Joe Rogan during his interview with the Golden Jew, Adam Sandler, on the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan says, when talking about Judas Priest, they tricked us! They tricked us! Like Rob Halford, the lead singer of Judas Priest, singing iconic hits at the top of his lungs, such as Sin After Sin, Ram It Down, and Point of Entry in Ass Chaps weren't dead giveaways, Joe? Can I get a holla for the old school love podcast where first loves never die? In this case, we're talking about Meaty Bulges. Holla! Old School Love Podcast. And let's give a shout out to Rob Halford. And this is the Painkiller. Free Will Burning. Holla! Judas Priest forevermore. Thank you. Oh, very much. And this is an impression of Ziggy Marley being interviewed by High Times Magazine. Ziggy, your dad had 12 kids, but I thought that ganja drained your ballsack dry and made you impotent like Agent Orange. And Ziggy Marley says, fake news, man. Holla! Old School Law Podcast. Thank you very much. Can Carmelo Anthony, ex-New York Knicks player, become the new spokesperson for Tampax tampons? Name another player responsible for stopping so much flowage. Holla! Outside of Aaron Judge, a.k.a. Slunky Steph. Holla! Old School Law Podcast. Thank you very much. Kevin Hart doesn't think that Jokic from the Denver Nuggets does not think that Jokic does not think that the Serbian nationalist winning another MVP is a good look for the NBA. Well, I don't think Kevin Hart makes a good spokesperson for the Chase Freedom Card. Does Puff Daddy even let Kevin Hart out of the house for good behavior without giving him a recess pass first? Old School Love Podcast where first loves never die. Holla! Thank you very much. So I had this concept of writing a column for the WWE. That would be an extension of the Old School Law podcast. And I was thinking, big. Hey, Trump, this is an example of me being capable of dreaming big for my family again. Because a change is going to come. And I came up with a concept of writing a column where my son and I do a review. It's a review column. We watch old school. They have a category on Peacock called Old School. And you're able to watch old school matches. And I thought that would be a really cool column that I could write and I could incorporate my son's input and I could watch old school wrestling matches with my son and it'd be a great bonding opportunity and we could get a sponsor for the Old School Love podcast and it'd be a match made in heaven. Because I would think that there are people my age from my Gen X generation that would love to read a column like this because Bill Simmons. I mean, yeah, he's a good writer and occasionally smile-inducing funny, but he's still a freaking nerd from Greenwich. And my ego won't allow myself to not make some money off of a sports-related column in some capacity. And this being sports entertainment, more up my alley. However, and this is a guy Michael Hayes, one of the members of the Fabulous Freebirds, and he's in charge of creative there. So I reached out to him. I haven't heard back from him yet because I already done another piece called Missing Gordy where I watched this match and I thought that he was going to be in it, and Michael Hayes was, but Terry Gordy wasn't in it, who was like the Southern feral version of like Belushi, and instead the other guy Buddy Roberts was in it, who had like less body definition than fucking Hillary Hammer Time Cankles in a poncho. So body double or not. So I wrote this other piece called "Older the Better," and it's about the icon versus icon match that is between Hulk Hogan and The Rock. And this is before The Rock started endorsing Hair Plug Sniffer. And This piece, it reflects a time when I wasn't reading the news at all. I finally just broke that streak yesterday, and I'm finally becoming to be a believer in God helping right all the evil that's been jammed down our throats for what, 8 years now? So I found out that the CEO of Pfizer is was arrested for perjury. So that is great news, especially knowing that the clot shot depresses your immune system more than entry into the Dallas Buyers Club. So I would like to see all of that evil uprooting happen in my lifetime, and then I could start believing in a happy, more glorious future for my children. That'd be completely insane, awesome. But I want to get to the funny, and I want to perform this piece because I got to get some mileage out of it, and it's great writing. And if you love it, reach out to me at killersaid@gmail.com and say, look, I want to see more of these columns. Keep on sending them to the WWE. I think it's a great concept. And the thing is, it's very servicey, and it could be a great promotional piece. Maybe I should reach out to like the head of digital marketing again and say, look, you want people to sign up for Peacock? You want to turn people on to the old school wrestling matches? Then you need to team up with Do It All Dad over here, and we can make some comedy magic happen together. But at the same time, I don't want to be restricted. I hate having my happiness circumcised. My wife does that to me enough already. But like Gustav Flaubert says, famous French writer, eventually went to insane asylum. He says, I want to live a semi-normalized life so I get wild on the page. So I know I could get a hell of a lot more wild than this. Just having a Mardi Gras again. But here we go. Again, I think that the wrestling, I think they're owned by some huge conglomerate now. Vince is out of the picture, and they're more child centric these days. So again, a con like this isn't gonna fly. So let's just get to it because I had a lot of fun writing it. Here we go. Older, the better. Holla! I don't want to write this column about icon versus icon today. Why do I still care? Have politics ruined sports entertainment for me? I love The Rock before he ran his mouth in favor of hair plug sniffer 4 years ago. I love Hogan more than ever for asking a crowd at a beer promo event if he should body slam Kamala Harris for his new beer line. I think the Hulkster's new beer is called Bulging Python Juice. But Hulk wasn't delivering hate speech John Cena at Stone Cold. He was simply delivering hardcore hilarious shtick. Or we could agree that he was just crowdsourcing for an excellent idea if the opportunity presented itself. At the same time, like the Hulkster would ever get that close to Kamala Harris without tripping on her kick the can clit first. As you can see, I'm totally in the mood to write a family-friendly WWE column today to give Triple H sustained stiffage with Can I Get a Holla for an excellent start to this piece. Older, the better. Holla! Thank you very much. I'm not even reading the news anymore, but it's impossible to avoid. In synagogue for the Jewish New Year, I have to hear a woke rabbi in Ridgefield, Connecticut mention Hamas and Israeli zealots in the same sentence. Afterwards, I start yelling, go back to talking about Hamas! Holla! Which reminds me, for Halloween last year, I dressed up as a hot sauce sales rep that was cut off from my parents after I got kicked off of LinkedIn for hate speech against Hamas after I said that they were awful recruiters. I said, Hamas are awful recruiters. They're not good recruiters. All they do is target lonely virgins on WhatsApp and on LinkedIn who wish their phones blew up. Holla! And I had this hot sauce sample wrapped around my neck in the form of a necklace. And it was like a mini plastic bottle. And I approached this like Jewy looking wenchy chick. And I'm assuming she's either a self-hating Jewy wenchy chick or just a wenchy ugly Gentile. Either or, she sucked out loud. And I said, "Do you like hot sauce?" They're like, "You like hot sauce." Then you try this one right here because this hot sauce, it's hotter than Hamas. Hell, holla! Hotter than Hamas. Hell, old school love podcast where first loves never die. I got to perform in sweatpants more often. Thank you very much. So I downloaded the New York Sports Radio app for WFAN. It's the prominent only like sports radio network in New York. It's the entire reason why sports radio exists today. I sent this the first host for Mike and the Mad Dog, Steve Summers. They call him the Schmooze, and I sent him a New York Knicks dictionary pocket edition after the Insanity craziness, and I got tired of all these fake news, funny puns. So I came up with my own dictionary for the Knicks, and I'll give you an example. Spree, in honor of Latrell Sprewell. Spree, verb, to flee from an impending chokehold. Holla! Old school! Love podcast where first loves never die. That being the Knicks in this instance. Thank you very much. So I download the WFAN app to listen to the Yankee game upstairs as my fuss-free kids chill. And I'm reading my new favorite book, The Baseball 100, because I heard broadcast legend Susan Waldman in the car part. Suddenly I wanted a more twangy, weathered Yenta in my life. Despite being turned off from the Reformed Synagogue service in Richfield, Connecticut, which showcased a guitar strumming female cantor who sounded like a winded Barbra Streisand impersonator, only to be followed by some putsy kid who sounded like he was blowing hollowed spitballs into the shofar. At the same time, I thought I'd rather hear Ari Shaffir in the Joe Rogan podcast blow his nose on his talis, his regular speaking voice. Old school. Love podcast where first loves never die. Holla! Thank you very much. I started listening to WFAN app and immediately hear, how can you vote for someone convicted by a court presided by the Gong Show judge? Again, if anybody's guilty of violating a gag order, it's Stormy Daniels. Get your gag reflex under control, Slurpee. All you've heard for 8 years is Slurpee yapping about the size of Trump's shiitake-sized dick. I'm not a PG guy. Who the fuck am I kidding? I can be, but do I really care about propping up the Roman Reigns era of the WWE? Do I really care about the enduring popularity of John Cena? When he can't even articulate Vince McMahon's legacy when the Netflix doc crew was filming and had fucking all year to prepare, I'm assuming? I don't know, John. How about giving a clunky wigger character a fighting chance? Holla! Which reminds me, is Justin Bieber endorsed? Is he the new spokesperson for Heineken? Heineken, the aspirational wigger beer of choice, because aren't they controlled by the hip hop game mafia? Holla! Thank you very much. How about giving Eddie Guerrero the chance to make Latino heat love live forever? Latino heat love. Holla! Thank you very much. What's Vince's legacy? Vince McMahon's legacy. How about giving creative genius talking talent grander stages to shine on, especially comedic legends on the mic such as Rowdy Piper, Bobby the Brain, and Michael Hayes? How about transforming Paul Heyman to a big dick strutting manager icon? How about making Hulkamania possible so you didn't have to project as much personality, loaded charisma? Cena. I loved how much this Canadian crowd went out of their way to cheer Hogan on in this match versus the Great One during this WrestleMania for the ages. Every bicep pose was a main event by itself. And has Hogan ever wrestled better or looked better doing it? Every leg drop launched higher, every chop snapped harder, every running elbow to the head resounded louder. Rock bottom, people's elbow. Who gave a shit on this night? Hollywood Hogan swallowed up the whole spotlight on this night. You couldn't keep your eyes off this glistening, weathered bronze beast of a man. Everyone screaming and cheering for the Hulkster wanted to bear hug their 10-year-old self again. Everyone screaming and cheering for the Hulk wanted to believe in miracles again. Do you believe in miracles? Holla! Old school Olympic love lives. Thank you very much. Everyone screaming and cheering for the Hulk wanted to believe social media never happened. Holla! Everyone screaming and cheering. The Hulk wanted to believe Hulkamania never died. Holla! Everyone screaming and cheering the Hulk wanted to believe wrestling could loom larger than life in their hearts again before they bloomed under their fruit of the looms. Holla! Everyone screaming and cheering the Hulk wanted to believe older the better. Older the better. Thanks for the memories, brother. Holla! Older the better. Thank you very much.